part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, welcome back. This is the Ball Card Show. I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
This is the sports podcast
For the Sports Collector.
right here on the Press Play Podcast Network. That was a smooth introduction.
We have our moments.
They're about to be fleeting. Big day today. I'm excited.
Okay. Why are you excited?
We're doing our first.
Oh, we do have an interview today.
We have an interview.
We do. We have a guest coming onto the podcast.
Yeah. Friend, card family member,
Yeah.
card fam.
Friend of the show. We get to say friend of the show
Friend
now.
of the show. We have friends.
We get to say
Speaking
friend
of
the show.
friends, I want to pick up where we left off
Oh
last
my
week,
God.
which is the debauchery, which
This
is your cheating patterns in
You
life
literally are just
and in this
kicking
challenge.
a dead dog right now.
So that dead dog took some votes on Facebook.
Yeah.
Should I pull them up?
I don't care what you do.
So I would like for you to just
Basically,
explain.
you're-
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Oh, okay.
I would like for you to explain
I already did.
what your understanding of the challenge was that we started a while back, which, by the way, don't be sleeping on Zion cards because they're on the way back, baby.
They might be. He showed up looking a little more in shape than people anticipated. Not A shape, but actually relatively in shape.
So what was the challenge?
I mean, my understanding was that we start with X and we work our way up to whatever, right?
So it's based off of what? The red paperclip challenge?
Yes.
And what was the red paperclip challenge?
We trade.
No. What was the original red paperclip
Oh, dude
challenge?
started with a red paper clip and ended up with a house.
Yeah. And he traded from the red paperclip up to the house.
Yes, but he also had dollars included in a lot of those things. He had to fly places. He had to do things. Yeah.
So my understanding of the challenge was we're going to start with a card
Yep.
that at the time was the same value, which was what, right around $100.
$100, yep.
And then you were going to trade that card as many times as you could. And at the end of the 6-month period, whoever had the highest value card won the challenge.
Right.
We both agree on that. What we don't agree on is the methods and means to get there.
Okay.
I thought you could trade that thing over and over to the next thing and trade the next thing. You thought you could supplement your trade with money and other cards.
Reasonably so. Like not 10 grand, but
See, but when you say reasonably, what's reasonable?
$80-$100.
So I could have initially doubled it. I could have had another card just right away for $100 and traded that as my first trade.
Well, no, not another card, just a little bit of cash.
I could have done 100 cash with my first trade. And you would have been cool with it?
I don't know that I would have lost my mind like you did.
Would you have been cool with it? See, you already know you wouldn't have been cool with it.
Maybe not.
So we asked the people how they felt. And I'm not going to lie, it was a lot of family members responding accordingly.
Although there
Oh,
were
shoot.
several strangers that voted for me.
Did they?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you paid them too with not traded cards. Let's see. Let's pull this up.
Here we go.
I want to pull up
Long story short is this.
Ball Card Show. If you're
If
not
it-
following us, you
You should.
Yeah.
If it will make you feel better, I am willing to say I'm sorry. But I'm not going to lie. I had an opportunity
Yep.
to snag a ridiculous card,
Yep.
and I took it.
You know what I like about this?
What's that?
The transparency and honesty. Now we're getting somewhere. You had 30 pieces of silver that were being offered,
Are you
and
comparing
you
yourself to
could
Jesus
not
right now?
resist
You're comparing
the
yourself to
opportunity.
Jesus.
I'm trying. Oh, group. I'm looking at the page.
Yeah,
and
no,
our
you gotta
mic
go to
is
the
cutting
group.
out. Hold on. We got. Hey, can you call our producer real quick? I want to make sure that we get this figured out. What's our intern's name? Who's back there in the
Where's
booth?
Alec?
Yeah.
Is Alec?
My-
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my
we're
son.
clipping
Yeah.
pretty bad. Let me fix this. Let
Okay.
me fix this. I think it might just be my headphones though. So I'm pulling up I promise I'm pulling up the page here. The vote was definitely heading in my direction.
That's because you have 800 siblings.
No, I don't.
3.
And one of them listens to the show.
Oh, and your dad and your mom.
Well, mom chiming in definitely made it feel a little bit unfair. You know what my first thought was? She heard me cuss.
Oh, that's
Mom
funny.
heard me cuss, and she knows that We do not like butter cake.
Oh, it's rough.
What is happening right now?
I don't know. Long story short, like I said, had an opportunity to snag a ridiculous card. I took it.
Mm-hmm. You sure? And how do you feel about the decision? I don't hear regret.
No, none whatsoever. Absolutely no regret.
Okay.
Yeah, being honest.
I'm trying to pull up the tally here because there were a few different options. There it is.
I'm
There's
sitting
the
on a
group.
true yellow Bowman Chrome Ryan Mountcastle on Cardo of 75 in a slab.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's like
here we go. Here we go.
card.
We found
As
it.
it sits right now, maybe $450.
So here was the survey. After listening to our latest episode, is Gary a big fat cheater?
I was going to say, the way you set this poll up.
Well, if you aren't, I would just say no. But here's the questions, and here are the answers. The possibilities are, yes, he's a big fat cheater. He forfeits his opportunity to win. No, don't hate the cheater, hate the game.
See, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying, like, don't hate the cheater.
Yeah, but you like every option.
You
is
just
me being
acknowledge
a
that you
cheater.
cheated.
I would say gray area.
Situational ethics. I
Gray
understand. I
area.
remember this. Yes. Okay. And 3, Jason is a bigger baby than baby. I'm trying to say it because it's not true. Jason is a bigger baby than Gary is a cheater, and he's a big cheater. There was 1 vote for that one. And then we had also yes as the 4th option. Nobody picked that. The winning vote is 9 votes. He forfeits his opportunity to win. 6 votes. Don't hate the cheater, hate the game. And then 1 vote. Jason's a bigger baby.
So basically, it was 9-7. Is what it boils down to.
Yes, 9-7. I'll take that. Here's what I say we do.
Okay.
I say you give me an opportunity to pull some cash alongside my bet. We both agree to an amount, and we don't end this
Okay.
yet.
That's fine.
Because I think with some money, I might be able to trade a Zion.
$100?
You should have an edge on me because I was very lazy for the first few months.
Okay.
What's your card value at approximately?
Like 450.
Yeah, I'll say 150.
Well, it's not. I guess my thing is that I don't think that I should get too penalized for the fact that you waited
You're
4
not.
months.
This is Tom Brady getting 4 games. This is Deflategate,
So you want $150 in addition to your Zion.
which can get me to $200 trade value right now.
Okay.
So you're still
I will-
massive advantage.
Okay, deal.
So that kind of puts me at least in it. It forces it incentivizes me to actually do something. But I have tried. I think with that T-Law RPA trade, if I can trade that in with it, then it'll get me in that same ballpark.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right.
Okay.
So that took a lot longer than it should have. But the point is, the universe has declared, and by your own admission, you are a cheater. So
Okay.
let's move forward. A couple things to talk about. Some things happening in the NFL.
A lot of things happening in the NFL. As I say, before this interview, we got about 10 more minutes here. We need to get some content, and then we're going to have Vic come in. So NFL-wise, big happenings the last few days. The Biscuit, Mitch Trubisky, signs with the Steelers. Goes into camp as the favorite to win that starting job. Mason Rudolph is trash. I don't know what Dwayne Haskins is. I'm not sure Dwayne Haskins knows what Dwayne Haskins is. So I think Biscuit is the best opportunity to start there. And listen, I've been telling people this for a long time when it comes to Trubisky. He's way better than you think he is. Matt Nagy was awful, an awful head coach. You look at Trubisky's numbers, 65% almost career completion percentage, more touchdowns than interceptions, not by 1 or 2. Winning record as a starting quarterback. He's been to a Pro Bowl. He can run a little bit. He spent a year on the bench getting himself reset. I think he's going to be pretty successful in Pittsburgh. So I would say don't be afraid of Trubisky. I don't know that I would rush out and buy his stuff right now because it's kind of skyrocketing. It's kind of silly where it's at right now, but I think he could be pretty good. The other big news today,
This is huge.
the Browns went full Browns, and they pissed off their quarterback. And their quarterback went full Deshaun Watson. Not the, like, off-the-field stuff, but the I'm not playing for you anymore, have a nice life. Like, made a big social media post thanking the fans in Cleveland. Like, it's done. He ain't playing for the Browns anymore. All because the Browns were the Browns. They went and met with Deshaun Watson trying to trade Baker Mayfield to get Deshaun Watson and didn't have the decency to tell their starting quarterback, hey, we want to let you know this is a possibility. He found out about it on social media, and he went, okay, that's cool. Y'all have a nice life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in a position like Deshaun Watson was. He doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants to play football, but he ain't playing for the Browns.
No.
And that means the Browns are in a bad spot because now they don't have Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have Baker Mayfield. Do you really want to roll Case Keenum out there?
Yeah, the Baker thing for me, I think the way that was handled was horrible. I'm not shocked to hear it with that organization. Again, Dolphins fan here, so it's not me just throwing stones at a glass house. Wait, it is. It is exactly that. But I am so Baker is the ultimate butt. And I don't mean 2 T's. I mean 1. Here's what I mean. It's like almost taking ownership and responsibility. So he has, what's a typical Baker day? 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 300 yards, loss. That happened a lot last year. Throwing up yards, getting some touchdowns, still a lot of interceptions, mistakes.
The whole year.
Yep, very hurt. But here's the thing: between him and most quarterbacks at the elite level, they don't say, "Hey, I should have done better, but my shoulders hurt. Let me walk you through where the pain is, what it's coming from, so that you can validate that I didn't mess up that bad for a guy with this injury." He needed that validation so much, and I think he lacks that self-awareness of what that does to your teammates.
I don't disagree with you.
And your coaches are going to get tired. If that's what he's saying in press conferences, which are maybe reserved, who knows how many excuses have been heard or explanations. So I don't know. I don't know with that. I do think that it is super shady for a player to find out on social media that you're looking at someone else you don't even know will be allowed to play.
Yeah.
And like it or not, I was at a local sports bar in Columbus the night that the Bud Light coolers were unlocked and the Browns won the game. Baker came in late. He had the right attitude and chip on his shoulder to turn that program from what it was to where it is now. So, is it where all the Browns fans want it to be? No. Is it a lot better than it was? Is it competitive? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's talented.
Well, I think that I agree with what you're saying about Baker, but the only caveat that I give to that is this. The reason that other quarterbacks don't do that is because their coaches have their backs. Their coaches go out and say, "Hey, get off of Baker's case. He's playing hurt. He's giving us everything he has." You know how many times Kevin Stefanski said that last year? Potato.
That's 0.
Yeah, that's 0. So at some point as a player, you're not performing well. Your team keeps rolling you out there even though you're really hurt. And then they're just leaving you out to dry while you take all the arrows and take all the shots.
Mm-hmm.
And your head coach and general manager are like, and so then all that, you go through that for a year, and then this happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I wouldn't have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, you know what? Y'all don't want me? Peace.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
So that's Baker. The other big thing that happened literally 5 minutes before the podcast, Davante Adams traded to the Raiders after the Packers talk Aaron Rodgers into signing an extension. He might just retire and say, screw you guys.
Aaron Rodgers comes across to me as a guy who journals his plans for every day. And one thing I can assure you that was never written down was adjusting to Davante Adams leaving.
Well, and Valdez-Scantling is a free agent who's not coming back. They got no receivers.
So, and I've heard this from a few different places. Like, the talk is the Packers are done. They had a couple years to make that run with the money they're spending on Aaron right now, people leaving. It's not looking good.
He's got nobody to throw to.
Now, if there was a person that could figure out how to throw to somebody when there's nobody to throw to, it's probably Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but they got to catch it.
Yep.
That's the problem. Yep. Like, they got to catch it.
That's a massive, massive deal. And then in other news, Cincinnati Reds are just having a fire sale.
Oh, I don't want to talk about how bad the Reds are going to be. It's going to be miserable.
Somebody posted a fire slab sale on Facebook of all Facebook.
On
Facebook? Facebook of basically anybody that matters.
Except
for Votto. We're going to hold him prisoner to finish. I hate what they're doing to Votto.
I don't
That's
disagree
so
with you.
unfair to him.
And freaking the Reds now, I'm not saying Eugenio Suarez is a monster, okay? He had a down year, but he was playing out of position the whole year. the Mariners are going to stick him at third base and let him do his thing. He's a big power right-handed batter. Is he going to strike out a lot? Yeah.
It's a good fit for him.
When he hits the ball, it's going 450 feet.
Yep.
He's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to be protected in the order. And then trading Jesse Winker, who's every year the last 3 years has just steadily gotten better and better and better. He's going to be their DH in Seattle. Nick Castellanos is a free agent. The Reds are going to be awful.
And here's the biggest difference. I think this is actually significant. Cincinnati has different expectations after last year, and not with baseball.
Oh, it's a city, yeah.
What
fan
the
base.
Bengals have done has raised the standard of expectation.
Yeah.
And when you look back with the Bengals, with the Reds, you can look back in the last 20 years and find 5 teams on each side that were ridiculously talented where the front office just completely ruined it.
Oh, yeah.
There's eras of the Reds team that I just love. The Adam Dunn, Austin Kearns, Sean Casey, that era of Aaron Boone.
Jay Bruce.
Yeah, Jay Bruce. Yeah, these guys. There was that Willie Mo Pena was hitting into the Ohio River. Like, there were times when they were throwing up ridiculous numbers.
Willie Mo Pena, I forgot about that.
But unfortunately, we had Danny Graves closing out
well,
games.
I was going to say, we can never put a pitching staff and a lineup together.
So Cincinnati's expecting
Trade
more.
Sonny Gray now. Like, it's going to be bad, guys. As a Reds fan, I'm not looking forward to this
5
year.
to 7 years minimum before you start to see a possibility of a playoff push. That's my opinion. Unless at the end of Votto's contract, the whole point is we want to clear the deck and we're going to spend a lot of money on players that have some mileage.
When's that ever happened in Cincinnati?
Well, I know it's too logical, but anyway. So,
sell the team, Bob. Sell the team.
Yeah, it's rough right now. Really disappointed because I really only have the Buckeyes as a competitive team. So
well, here's the good news.
All right.
As much as we're disappointed as Reds fans in what's going on, and as much as our brains have been blown by the NFL action that has happened today, we are really excited about what you guys are getting ready to hear. Our first guest is coming up, and we're going to hop right into that. You ready to do that?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it. All right. So now we are being joined by Vic Nava from Boomtown Sports and Collectibles. For those of you who don't know who Vic is, he's an awesome guy that Jason and I stumbled into his Facebook group a couple of years ago. And here's this guy. He's doing dice games for relatively inexpensive cards. And flash forward 2 years later, he owns a LCS. He runs a group that snap fills.
It does snap fill.
Snap fills breaks. And it's one of the best communities that I'm a part of on Facebook. Awesome people, and it's a reflection of who Vic is. So thanks for joining us, Vic.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd say too, as I was getting back into the hobby, so I was that stereotypical guy, mid-30s, collected as a kid, starting getting back into it, and then you realize there's this massive thing happening in the hobby. And for me, I had jumped on Facebook Live to it was somebody doing a stacks game and way overpriced. I had no idea what I was even doing. I was just like, this is kind of like gambling. This is fun. This is legal, right? And one of the members in your Facebook group, Danny Fife, I played baseball with at college, and he was like, dude, you need to get out of this mess. You're losing money here. Here's a group you need to join. And the first time I saw anything live happening in the group, it was the dice game. And I still didn't know what was going on, but everybody seemed to really like each other. And fast forward years later and countless breaks later, and I just am real excited for what you're doing. And I look forward to seeing more of it. So what we'd love to do is kind of jump in the story of you kind of getting into this space. Was it, did you move from a collector into the Facebook side of it? Kind of what gave you an idea that this should be more than just you collecting cards for yourself?
So, yeah, the dice game. That's funny how you mentioned that. I wish I could do that again. I really wish I could just go back and just do that all day long. That was the best game ever. It really was. That was dollar rolls. But there's a really loud car outside. Sorry about that.
You're all right, man.
So I started collecting. I mean, I can remember having birthday parties in the 4th grade where I had friends over and we were just ripping hobby boxes, NBA hoops, hobby boxes and not even looking for anything crazy, just our players, our favorite teams. And that kind of stuck with me my whole life. And I can remember going when I started working at Chili's in 2007, and there was a Walmart across the street, and I would go in there every shift and buy like 1 pack, 2 packs, here, just a couple packs here and there, nothing crazy. Because back then in the store they used to sell single packs. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and you could get them.
yeah, back in Walmart, Walmart used to have single packs. And so I always, collected cards. I never stopped really. It never really was a thing where I was like investing, where I was like saving stuff for the future and like, oh, I'm going to save this and be rich one day. It was more like I was looking for Red Sox players. That's it.
right.
The rest are like, Mike Trout, get this rookie card out of here,
Oh, I hope that didn't happen.
I was ripping packs all the way. Through that time, like through 2011, and I remember going through my car in like 2017. I was like, man, I know that there's a whole stack of cards in here from 2011. There's got to be a Trout rookie in here, and I found that one stack. It was a nice little hefty stack of cards of all of my shifts that I worked. I went through that whole thing, and there wasn't a damn rookie in there at all. I was like, I was hoping, but it was kind of like reopening the packs because I didn't know what was in there, So it was kind of exciting.
That's how I am with Bowman every year. I go back through all my old Bowman stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna be rich.
That's true. Yes, you forget about these guys.
Yep.
It's crazy. So I ended up getting, I found that stack of cards, and I started going into an LCS myself because what got me really like attracted into the bigger cards was I went to a card show, and I was like, I kind of like all these autographs and stuff, and this stuff's really like, it's hitting my eyes different, but I still want my Red Sox players, like I don't really care for this stuff. And so that's when I started buying started going to a lot more shows. This was like 2017, 2018, started going to a lot more shows and meeting a lot of people, networking, and just trying to meet people and figure things out. And I was just buying way too many cards. And that's when the wife stepped in and was like, okay, it's time to sell. You have way too many, and they're all over the kitchen counter. So what actually got me started, what I actually did start doing dollar rolls. I started doing stacks, just like a regular stacks game. And I started doing dollar stacks with again, I wasn't interested in investing. I wasn't interested in making a ton of money. I wanted to make something back and have fun while doing it,
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember doing that dollar game, and I had a 2012 gold sparkle Mike Trout.
Oh, you just made me cringe.
It wasn't even a chaser. It was just a dollar pool.
No.
Yes. Terrible.
You're lying. Oh,
I'm not even kidding. Oh. And because at the time, again, I was just like, think about it though. That early cards
was before the boom. Yeah,
exactly. So it wasn't like people were like, oh man, that's a big chaser card. The guy who won it was like, man, that's really cool. Thanks for that. Like, it wasn't a big deal, It was
stuck
like
it right in his bicycle spokes.
Exactly. He probably went and sold it for $2.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's like the Cards Infinity guy who pulled the Trout auto rookie Bowman first of 25. He was like, yeah, I don't know who this guy is.
I don't know if he's any good. Mike Trout.
Trout. I've eaten trout, but I don't know about this baseball player.
Exactly. Wow.
So yeah, man, I got into doing those dollar stacks, and then I did it a few times. I did a few videos, and then I went to Vegas. And that changed my whole life because that was the first time I went to Vegas. First time I played craps on an actual craps table.
Mm-hmm.
And those
you were like, I gotta sell a bunch more cards.
I was like rolling those dice. I was like, wait a minute. The wheels were turning. I was like, I can throw cards. They're using chips. Why don't I just use cards?
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. No one else is doing this. I can do this. So I came home and I created the dollar rolls, which was just insane, man. I started to. I don't even know if that one group Auction House is still around. Is that still around? That Auction
don't
House.
even
I don't
know.
know if it is or not, man. I'm gonna tell you, I have had to in the last 6 months like weed out the number of card related groups that I'm in
There's a
because
lot.
it's just too much. Like there's about 3 or 4 now that I'm active in and stick around in because it's just too much.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So I started off in that Auction House group, and there was like 10,000 people in there. And real quickly, I developed this small group of just regulars, like the Michael B's. You know who Michael B is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who
you know,
he is. I just know that every time we look at an empty box, that's what's going on.
Michael B. Yeah, the legendary Michael B. And Michael B. John Bennett. Amy. Raymond Dash. Dash is.
Yep.
Dash doesn't even know where he is right now, but that's fine. Dash, the original crew that jumped in that group, that when we would jump on at about 6 o'clock and we would go till about 2 a.m. Like it would be insane all night long. So many cards would go flying out. I was already shipping like 30 packages a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got scammed really hard, like 2 times in a row.
Ugh.
And I was messaging John Bennett. Man, this one thing I got to say for sure, John Bennett is like part of the brain behind Trading Card Fam and Boomtown. Like he wishes he can do a lot more, but he loves his family. He's a great family guy, and he works a lot, so like he wants to be part of it more, and I wish he could be a part of it more, but he was a major part in like getting me to get another group and start the group. And we started the group actually, Trading Card Fam, home of Boomtown Breaks and Firebomb Stacks, because he was doing stacks at the time.
Yep.
And so we both kind of like, hey, let's make this group and like let's just have fun, and so when we broke off and we invited those special people that we liked and the people that were regulars, and we brought everyone over, and from there on, man, it's just like ballooned into this where we're at now, and breaking though, it's really funny how breaking started. I don't know if y'all remember how breaking started. I was doing the dollar rolls, and I had a blaster box as a chase, one of the chasers, and it wasn't hit at the end of the night. No one hit it. So the legendary Michael B was like, hey, everyone's doing breaks now. Why don't you do the break on that box right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, $2 a team. Like, pick your team. Every team's $2.
Hold on, Vic. I think you should bring that part back.
I agree. Let's do $2 PYTs. Let's go.
Well, here's what you know, Vic.
Team,
Hey, PYT, Gary's out. Gary's out. We both know this. He's not going to do that. But if you do randoms at $2, he'll buy 10 of them.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome, man. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. That's fine.
Oh yeah, man. So that's what started. I mean, we filled it. It was like 15 people watching, so everybody got some spots, and we filled it really quick. And after that, it was like the next day. It was like, hey, that was fun. You should do that again. And at that time, I had a Walmart like 5 minutes away. And at the time, those shelves were full all the time.
Yep.
They were
just
full.
For the sake of us feeling cringy about it. Could you give us an idea of what things were easily accessible then that'll make us sick now?
Oh, I mean, 2018, 2019, optic boxes, Luka Doncic. Oh no, 2017, 20. Oh no, is that right?
No, 18, 19 was Luka. Yep.
Yeah, 18, 19 was all over the shelves. Optic. I mean, every Prism. I mean, it was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
There was 27. I mean, there was still. Oh, the best thing was at the time they had clearance packs of 2017 optic, 2017.
Walmart clearance packs were the slam.
Yes,
nothing was better than Walmart clearance packs. I was buying 2018 Topps Update baseball clearance packs.
Oh, that was
for
the best.
$3.98 a pack.
I was buying boxes of them, and then selling them for like $50, $70 a pack. And I'm still like, man, that was a good deal for them.
Yeah, no, I remember going to a small town and I found 18 packs in the clearance section, and it was already at a time where people were starting to notice the rookie class,
Yep.
and I was like, oh, I hit the jackpot. I'm gonna open all these things. I'm gonna get like 17 rookies. I got one,
Right.
one Ronald Acuna rookie card, and it wasn't even
Yeah.
like this. It was just the
It
regular.
wasn't bat down. It was
Bat
just
up.
a regular.
No.
I
And
will say that one of the things that's awesome to me, and you and listening to you talk right now, and if you're listening out there and you're hearing Vic talk, one of the things that has drawn me consistently back to Vic's room, and I consider Vic somebody that I've never met Vic to face. He lives in Texas. I live in Ohio. But in the hobby, I consider Vic a friend, and he posted something on Facebook earlier today because he's opened his shop. Your shop's been open what now? A month, Vic?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay, that's because you had a soft open. That's right.
Mhm.
So, Vic's got his shop. It's open. He's doing his thing, growing steadily. And he posted something on Facebook today about one of his customers coming in, and at the front door when they come in, he's got bottled water and some snacks, and they're all complimentary, which is awesome business practice. And the customer said to him, "Hey, you can make some money if you just sold this stuff." And Vic's response was quintessential Vic. And if you go join Boomtown Facebook group, you follow him on Instagram, you'll see that this is who he really is as a person. He looked at that person and said, "Hey, it's not about the money. It's about relationships." You just heard Vic talking about people that have been there from day one. His group's got 1,000 people in it. It's not a massive group. It's a decent sized group. There's probably 100 people that are reasonably active consistently.
Yeah,
And Vic,
very close.
he knows every one of their names and could probably tell you something about them.
Yeah.
You won't find a better group and a better person running it. I just stroked your ego a little
All
bit.
right,
Vic.
now I'm going to jump in there too, because I think one of the other unique things about that community you were building was it was information overload to get back into this hobby. And you had, a couple schools of thought. I have like my dad's generation where it was all vintage. What's the point in this serial numbered stuff? And then you had all the sneakerheads coming in, and I felt like I was somewhere in the middle, and it was overwhelming figuring out even how to get back in the hobby. Because the thing that everybody tends to do is just flex and say, well, break out your credit card or your checkbook and drop a few grand buying a couple hobby boxes. And the thought of spending that kind of money to get into a hobby, I was like, no way. But I felt like you kind of created a community where people getting back into the hobby could feel safe to ask questions. What do you guys recommend? What should I get into? What do you like about this product? And it wasn't as transactional. It was legit about a community, a family. And so for me, I give you credit, Vic, for what you built even just doing this podcast would not have happened if you hadn't built that kind of community where I felt like I could ask questions without the old heads jumping in and just roasting me with 500 comments in another group. So I just appreciate what you built here for sure.
Yeah, man. It's all about just helping people. That's the family environment, the family feel. Where you can not be afraid to say something or ask a question, and someone's going to be there to help you out. And that's what I wanted to build from day one. And I'm so glad it turned out to be that way. Like I was having a conversation with my wife the other night, and I was like, we're really busy, but I really miss breaking, and I love the card game so much. And she like almost teared up, and she was like, I love them so much. Like they're the best group ever. And I was like, I know, I miss them. Like I miss breaking. I miss being there every day to like have conversations with them through comments and say, hey, how's it going? And that's the best part about of that group is just it's so close. And like you said, there's maybe 100 solid members, maybe a little more, but they're all close. Everyone knows. So I've seen what the best thing about it is like the other day, someone had posted on their personal page that they were having a hard time. And another guy who he just met recently went on there and dropped a nice comment, like a long comment, like, "Hey, brother, just be, hang in there. We got your back. Keep your head up and stuff like that." Like they didn't know each other at all. They still don't know. They live in different states, but like that connection is what makes me proud that like people can still do that. And that's what I wanted to build with this group was just like a family group where we can just all trust each other and be close. So
Absolutely. And so let me ask you this, because we're leading through this story of, starting stacks and then dollar rolls and then breaking. At what point in this journey did you start to think, you know what? I want to take this from something that's a hobby that I make a little bit of money on to this is what I want to do for a living.
I think what got me there was caring too much, or not too much. I don't want to say that. I guess caring a lot, that like so much that I just want to do it more and be there for people, because
Okay.
I needed more time to be there. I need more time to be there for people. So at first my wife was working, and I was doing cards and other stuff on the side, and I was mainly a stay-at-home dad. And it hit a point where I was like, hey, like this group really needs me more, and I really need to be there more. And I'm on my phone a lot, and I'm doing a lot more breaks, and I really want to get this going a little more than where we're at. And I feel like, the money that I'm making in breaks is kind of like the same that what you're making, So I was
Right.
like, why not transition that into something that would work for us, because I can do this while you can not work and watch our son and raise him, because at the time he was only a baby. He was a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, so it's better mom raising him than dad over here, always
My
playing with
my wife would agree with you.
I was trying to play with ball cards,
Yeah.
Right. So in that process, you make that decision without getting too deep into the nitty gritty. What did you find immediately were the challenges that you weren't expecting?
The challenges are main, like consistency, because at first when I'm just breaking, like this is our whole livelihood. We're relying on this group. We're relying on Facebook. We are relying on filling breaks, and like things happen, like when my Facebook was getting put in jail a lot for whatever reason. And when Facebook went down the other time, for a little while, like we rely on that stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that was our biggest challenge, was just being consistent, because there were a lot of weeks where breaks were slow, where breaks weren't filling as fast, or maybe there wasn't a lot of product out, and I would have to find some. I mean, like again, it's the whole thing. Everything's relying on me now. The whole family's relying on me now. So what really, really, really helped, I want to say, what really helped me get to the point of a card shop and like us being able to survive, was card shows. Like card shows were, man, those were everything, because I can take all the cards I had now that's sitting in a room, and I can go throw them on a table and come home with $4,000 or $5,000. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that pays a lot of the bills for that month. You know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
And once I got established with the shows, and I started doing shows in 2019. Once I got established with the shows, it was like, hey, this is not so bad. Like we can make it all right with this,
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much of a challenge. It wasn't so much of like, not so much worry, because once the shows came a part of it, and it was actually to actually help out our finances, it turned into more fun now. It was like, hey, I'm able to make some money, and like we're doing okay, and now we could just have fun with it,
Yeah.
Right.
And so with the breaks, we started, progressing with breaks, doing more and more breaks. And then I just had way too much inventory, way too much holding stacks. Like shipping area was like another entire room in my house. And it was like, okay, like I need to get out of here. I cannot sit in this house all day long and work here. And everything's cluttered, and there's no organization to anything at all. I don't know how I've not lost more cards for these people.
Wow.
It was chaos, So I said, what's the best thing for me to do would be to just break off and get a location where I can run breaks and store everything better. And I figured, well, I mean, if I do that, then why not just open the front door, and I can have people look at all my cards that are also sitting here,
Sure.
So that's when we started getting the wheels turning, and we started really saving, and I started really selling a lot of stuff, and we just said, it's a lot to it's a big trigger to pull, and we just decided to pull it, and here we are, man. We're 6 weeks in, and it's a lot of fun, but the work equals the fun that I'm having,
What did I tell you the other day on Facebook? This is going to be the hardest 6 months of your life and the most fun 6 months of your life.
Exactly. That's what it is, man. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I wake up in the morning, like naturally now, I don't even set my alarm. My brain just like wakes up. It's like, all right, time to get to the shop. And I'm not even mad about it. I wake up at 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, and I get up and I get dressed and I head straight here. And I'm here every day at 9 o'clock, roughly. And we don't open till 11, but I get here and I price and I organize, I clean, and I love it. I'm not even like mad here. I'm not like, oh, I hate this job. Like I love being here so much so that at night I'm hesitating to walk out the door because I'm like, I don't really want to leave. Like there's still something I can do, like I can go price something, or I can move this way, and so I just love it so much, man. It's a lot of work, but I can't like get enough of this place. It's fun.
So one of the things that I want to jump in talking about, Vic, is in this whole process, and you are so genuinely passionate about it that a lot of obstacles that people run into, you've already moved through just because you love what you're doing so much. But as you were making this transition to potentially having your own LCS, there was a ton of people my age that were like, oh, I'd love to open a card shop. I'm going to do that. They've not done breaks. They haven't built communities, and they had no idea the allocations are not what they were 10 years ago. And so I'd love for you to just kind of highlight, and I know that there's, you don't have to jump too much into the weeds on this, but when you have all this excitement around this hobby and you have a lot of people that are at an age where they can start saving up money to try to open something, everybody wants new product and there's not enough of it. Like I remember just seeing in the group that being a real challenge for you, just emotionally draining, of trying to figure out how are we going to get these allocations, which, you don't have to have a massive allocation to open a shop, but it's not easy to do. You don't just say, I'm opening a shop and these people are going to send me products. So can you kind of like 30,000 foot view, just kind of walk people through like, hey, there's a lot of work involved in even getting new sealed product for people to be able to access.
Yeah. So my distributor, like when I first started trying to get in with them, at the time they weren't accepting anyone. Like I don't even think they're accepting anyone right now. It's a matter of like you catch them on a good day, and I think I just caught this very, very sweet lady on a good day. Like she just so happened to respond to me and say, you're a breaker with something that we might be interested in, because I think at the time they were bringing in a lot of breakers. I've had this distribution company for almost a year now. I want to say maybe 8 months, 12 months, no, 10 months.
Do you use Southern or do you use GTS?
I use GTS distribution.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. So she was very, very sweet. She was like, we aren't bringing people in, but you are a breaker, and I do want to bring some more breakers in. And she was like, do you have any breaks on YouTube? And I was like, I don't. I have no breaks on YouTube. They're all on Facebook. And she was like, okay, well, send me a link to your Facebook and I'll join up, and I want to watch your breaks. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So she joined the group, but I mean, it's a community. So everyone was selling cards. You got Dash in there posting random memes. You got random stuff going on there. And she was like, hey, your group seems nice, but I don't see any of you. I see like 2 breaks, and I'm not going to scroll, 100 times to try to find your breaks. Can you put them on YouTube? And I was like, yeah, I'll put them on YouTube, no problem. So I uploaded 20 videos on YouTube, and I said, here's a link, my channel. And she was like, all right, no problem. So she emailed me back saying, hey, I watched every single break. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of breaks, because some of them are case breaks. I was like, you sat there that whole time.
Was it a Topps hobby case break? Because God bless her.
Yeah. One of them was an Inception break, which was kind of quick, but still, I take my time. So, and she was like, I watched every single break, but can you upload 30 more? It's like
What she was trying to figure out was how much money you had to spend on product.
I was like, when she said upload, I was like, oh, she's gonna ask for 5 or 6, no, 30 more videos. I was like, all right, so I got some work to do. So I uploaded. I did it. I took the time. It was a lot of uploading and editing and saving and transferring, and I did 30 more videos. I had exactly 50 videos, and I sent her the link. It took 2 weeks, and she finally responded, and she was like, hey, I watched every single break. I think that you're great. I think your breaks are phenomenal. You're a funny guy, and they're entertaining. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you on. And when I read that email, like, it was like I won a marathon,
I
because it was
remember how
so
excited
hard.
you were. Yeah, I remember how excited you were.
It was so hard to get that thing. It was just like, oh man, like I called my mom. I was like, Mom, guess what?
Spaghetti. Bring me lasagna.
But I was very excited, man. And what's crazy is that right away she sent me the link to my account number where I can log in and start looking at product, and I was like, oh yeah, let's look at some product. So I log in and I'm like, ooh, Absolute Hobby Box for $125. Yes, sir. I'll take that all day long. This is going to be great. And so we got into, she got me in with the sales rep, and I started talking to the sales rep, and I was like, all right, man. So I'm going to put my first order in. I see that Absolute's 125. I'm going to get 3 cases of those bad boys. And he's like, that is allocated price. Your price is $825 a box. And I was like, that 825. I can remember saying 825. Hold on. And I went on my phone. I looked at the internet, and I was like, they're selling for $750 on Blowout. Like, why are they more than what like market is?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's our price, man. That's our secondary price. After everything gets allocated, this is what we charge for things. We that's just what we charge. And I was like, wow, okay. So prime example, right now I'm looking right at it, and it hurts me now I'm looking at it. I have 2021 Contenders Hobby on my shelf at a price of $629, and I bought them last week for $679. So every single box I have to take a hit of $50.
That's just so you can build actual allocations in the future.
Exactly.
Yep. And that's what people don't understand about this. What Jason was alluding to earlier. I want to start a shop. They don't understand. It's not like back in the day when you would roll into GTS or Southern with a business license and say, hey, sign me up. And they'd be like, cool. How much do you want? 6 cases. Awesome.
Yeah.
It ain't like that anymore.
No. And I mean, it's funny how, I get a sales list every week, and I look at the sales list, and it's
and you
about,
go, liars. You're liars.
It's literally about $5 under like market, like internet market price. And it kind of, and I get it. Like, what they do now is kind of, they want more breakers because the breakers can make, even though they're charging that price, the breakers can still make the back end money on it.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of breakers are still successful, but they break at home, or they have somewhere where they don't have a store.
They don't have $4,000 a month in overhead.
Exactly. I wish I had $4,000.
Yeah, Vic, I have
it was that low.
There's a friend of ours, a mutual friend of Gary's too, that he's been breaking with it's pretty recognized brand for, I would say, 10 years, and doing it very effectively. But he was starting to get the squeeze on allocations where he had been getting a tremendous amount, but he needed more. And so he has opened up his own storefront, which essentially is just in place for the possibility of that address delivering more allocations. And he's spending so much money over the next few years with the hopes that he can increase allocation.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to want that. So I'm just curious now, with that being the reality for a lot of people that are opening newer LCSs, how much of is a huge chunk of the revenue still the singles, raw cards, dollar bins? Like, how does that play in today? Because that's what I remember. I remember as a kid rolling in with $2 and you're leaving with 8 cards, right?
Yeah.
So is it still a big chunk for an LCS to figure that out?
a lot of the revenue comes from singles. Then that is the biggest thing. And one thing about my showcases, and I've got this. So people have told me this already in the last 6 weeks, that my showcases are being like flipped like every week. Like you come in next week and they're going to be completely different. Because our singles are selling so fast, but we're also buying very fast as well. Like people are walking in every day and we're buying stacks of cards every single day. But we're not buying them at dirt cheap. We're also we're at a certain rate. And what we offer what we offer people is and it's actually higher than other places here in town. We're offering 60% of current market price, and with that, we feel like we have enough room for risk, shelf life, and everything else that goes along with overhead, basically.
Do I have a stack of cards for you, Vic?
Well, we're not going to do this right now. But
live
Vic,
auction.
Hey, if you're saying 60, Gary's asking for 90. You know how that game works. One of the questions I have for you, so you're talking about buying collections. I think there's a ton of people like me that just in the last 3 or 4 years, they've jumped in. Are you seeing people kind of move out of the hobby too because of scarcity of retail, being priced out of hobby? Are people moving collections, or are people kind of staying in it and enjoying the next era of what's happening?
I think it's hard for me to say what is actually going on in the entire hobby, but what I can say is that it's very strong in this city. Yeah. I live in a big city. I'm in San Antonio. There's millions of people here, and we have card shows twice a month almost. And when you go to the big 2-day card shows here in town, I mean, there's hundreds of people. The hobby is very, very strong here in town. I'm averaging 5 to 6 new people every day that walk into the shop. And we've been open for 6 weeks. Like every day, 6 people are walking in, like with their eyes big, like, wow, new shop. It's crazy how this city is very, very, very big on sports cards. I mean, we're one of those cities where you can't find anything on the shelves. In Walmart and Target, everything's gone because this city is very, very, very hungry for cards. So is it busy here? Like, is the hobby doing well here in town? Yes, it's very, very healthy. Other parts of the country, I don't know. I can't say, but as far as here, like it's doing really, really well. And I see it getting busier, and I see more people buying wax and singles than I have people coming in to sell.
That's good.
And when I had a trade night 2 weeks ago, and I have another trade night actually coming this Monday. Talking to a lot of people in that were here. I mean, most of the deals that were done, like I want to say 80% of the deals that were done were trades that night. It was crazy. Like it wasn't even about making a ton of money. Everyone wanted to just mingle and trade. And I saw so many deals going on, like big deals and little deals, but like, it's crazy. Like the hobby's very, very healthy here in town. So that makes me happy,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. And all those trades is super nostalgic for me. Like that reminds me of the junk wax era big time.
Yeah, I mean, we don't only buy. We trade a lot too. We got certain people that come in and don't trade, don't sell at all. They just want to trade. Like I got this one kid, he's probably around 14, 13, and he comes in with his little briefcase already. Like he's ready to go. Like,
it's awesome.
He's got the cheese in there,
That's so cool.
And he'll pick one out and he'll look at one card in my showcase and be like, would you trade this for that? And we'll wheel and deal, and he'll throw in another card, or I'll like the trade. And I'll say, yeah, man, I'll trade that for you, and he comes in and just trades cards. And I remember one time I said, can I see what you have? And he was like, yeah. So I was going through this stuff, and I pulled out a Tim Duncan card that I liked a lot. And I was like, hey man, do you want to sell this? Can I buy this off you? And he was like, no, I don't sell, man. I don't sell. I'm not making money on cards. I just want to trade. He's 12, 13 years old.
He's
kid. Ready for the hobby. Like he's a hobbyist right there.
Yeah, he's not a sneaker kid. He wants to collect cards.
Exactly. It was so cool to hear him say that. I was like, That's really awesome, man. I was like, here's a free pack of cards just because you're awesome.
Speaking of kids, I got to let you know, Vic, you are known in my home. You're not known as Vic. You're known as son of a bitch. Every time I'm watching a break or I'm in a break and my wife or kids hear some boomage with, is it Jock Jams, Field of Dreams? What do you play?
The natural.
The natural. Yeah. As soon as that starts playing, immediately everybody's like, was it you, Dad? And you guys know the law of averages.
No, it wasn't you.
No.
But you legit are known as Boomage in my house in Columbus, Ohio.
Nice.
Vic, man, we really appreciate your time. I know you've had a long day and you have a lot more to do. So before we let you go, we want to roll out the carpet. Tell the people listening where they can connect with you, with Boomtown Sports and Collectibles. I know a lot of them aren't going to be driving from wherever they are to San Antonio, but there's all kinds of ways that they can connect. Tell us how that is.
Yeah, so we have like we were talking about earlier, the Facebook group, which is truly amazing. And it's a community. It's not just my great group where nobody can post cards but me. It's a true community. You can join, sell, trade, network, buy, do whatever you'd like on the group. It's a true community for you guys, and that's on Facebook. And it is a private group, but you can find it. It's not completely private. It's not hidden. And it's Trading Card Fam, FAM, Trading Card Fam. It's a family. That's why it's called Trading Card Fam. And join the group, meet some people, network. It's an amazing group. I'm going to get breaks going soon. I've been a little busy with the shop, but breaks will be going soon. So you can see there, meet a lot of people there in our group, or you can find our the Facebook group for our Facebook page. I'm sorry, for the actual store, which is Boomtown Sports Cars and Collectibles. And if you're ever in town in San Antonio, Texas, you're more than welcome to come by. We're at 10350 Bandera Road, Suite 305. Come in, yell some boomage, and I'll give you a free hanger box because I love
on my way.
There you go.
So yeah, I had a guy come in. I did a contest the other day. Speaking of that, and I said, first guy to come in and yell some boomage gets a free box. And he came in and yelled it really loud. There were some guys in here opening some packs, and they turned around like, "What the hell's going on?"
And you looked at him and went, "Here is a box of Don Russ Golf. Enjoy, enjoy."
Well, Vic, we appreciate you joining us. And for those of you listening, we're sincere in saying that Vic is probably the most genuine dude we know in the hobby. And the biggest thing I drew out of this was cards are just a platform for the relationships. So when you hear somebody say that, then you know that their heart is in it. And I think that actually matters. We do a whole podcast dedicated to this hobby because we love it. We care about it. And Vic, your heart shows through on this, not to get too sentimental, but we just appreciate what you're doing. We wish you all the success. We know you're tired and worn out, and I think you're going to look back and be really proud of yourself. You should be. We're proud of you, man. We're excited for you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. That was a lot of fun. I'll come back anytime because it was a lot of fun, man, honestly.
We're just excited we get to say we have a friend of the show now. Vic Nava, friend of the show.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Vic.
Thanks, man.
So thanks so much to Vic, Boomtown, his story, spending the time with us and sharing what he's doing. Make sure to check him out, all the stuff he mentioned. What a good guy, right?
Absolutely. 100%. One of my favorite people in the hobby.
One of your favorite, and I know who your most favorite is.
Not you.
This has been the Ball
You've called me a
Card Show.
cheater for 2 weeks.
Hey, bro, you are a cheater.
Peace.
Bye.